There are moments in life when we think we have loved deeply. We held on to someone with everything we had. We cared with our whole heart. We built our days around their presence. We shaped our future with their name in it. And then one day, it breaks. Not always loudly, not always dramatically, sometimes quietly, like something slowly dissolving, like a flame that does not go out at once, but weakens until only his smoke remains. And often, when the relationship ends, we say, "I love them more than anything." But did we love, or were we attached? Aristotle believed that love is often confused with attachment. Attachment is emotional hunger. Love is emotional nourishment. Attachment is gripping. Love is holding with openness. Attachment is fear-based. Love is freedom-based. Attachment says, "I need you to be okay." Love says, "I want us both to grow." Most relationships in the world are built on attachment, not love. Not because we are flawed, but because we were never taught how to love in a healthy way. We were taught to cling, to hold tight, to fear loss. We were not taught how to love without losing ourselves. Well, why we confuse? Attachment with love attachment begins in childhood. We learn to feel safe when someone stays close, responds to us, does not leave. So we learn. Closeness equals safety. But the heart does not stay innocent forever. Life teaches us. People leave. People change. People choose differently. People become overwhelmed by their own wounds. So, closeness starts to carry fear. Fear of abandonment. Fear of being replaced. Fear of not being enough. Fear of love disappearing. And when fear enters the heart, love becomes attachment. We cling because we are terrified of losing what keeps us emotionally alive. Aristotle understood this. He believed the heart cannot love freely when it is afraid. He wrote, "We must love in such a way that the other person feels free. Love that lives in fear is not love. It is dependency." And attachment feels like love, but it does not nourish the soul. Attachment says, "I cannot live without you." Love says, "I can live, but my life is more beautiful with you." Attachment anxiously watches. Are they drifting away? Are they changing? Are they losing interest? Am I enough? Love says, "I trust the connection we have. I trust myself. I trust the process." Attachment demands. Love invites. Attachment tightens. Love softens. Attachment is desperate for reassurance. Love is reassured in presence. When you are attached, your emotional state rises and falls with the other person's behavior. When they give attention, you feel secure. When they pull away, you feel abandoned. Your peace is no longer your own. This is why attachment is exhausting. Not because of passion, but because your heart is always anticipating loss. How Aristotle defined healthy love. Aristotle taught that real love begins with friendship of the soul. Not friendship as in casual connection. Friendship as in, "I know your heart and I respect its truth." In Aristotle's view, love is a shared journey of becoming. Love is two people who respect each other's values, support each other's growth, encourage each other's virtue, want to see each other live fully. He wrote, "Love is two people choosing to help each other become the best version of themselves. Love is not possession. Love is not controlling. Love is not constant togetherness. Love is, I want you to flourish, but even when your growth does not serve me. That is difficult. That is mature. That is rare." Oh, the heart knows the difference, even when we don't. Your body knows. When it is attachment, your heart feels tight, fearful, hyper-aware, easily triggered, constantly evaluating. When it is love, your heart feels warm, open, safe, steady. Present attachment tries to secure the relationship. Love tries to nurture the relationship. Attachment says, "Stay so I can feel safe." Love says, "I want us both to feel alive here." Attachment clings to avoid loss. Love holds with care, knowing love is not owned, only shared. Why letting go feels impossible. If attachment is rooted in fear, losing the person feels like losing oxygen. Your mind says, "I will never find another connection like this." But the pain comes not from losing the person. The pain comes from losing who you believed you were with them. You lose the version of you who felt loved, the sense of identity built around them, the illusion of emotional safety, the routine that gave structure to your days, the hope you held about the future. This is why detachment feels like grief. Not just grief of the person, but grief of the self that existed in their presence. Aristotle understood this. He believed love changes our identity, but healthy love changes us into more of ourselves. Unhealthy love changes us into someone we are not. A healing begins when you ask the right question. Not, how do I get them back? Not, how do I stop missing them? Not, why was I not enough? The real question is, was I loving? Or was I holding on because I was afraid to be without them? This question requires courage, because it asks you to look at yourself instead of the other. But this is where healing begins. Your heart is not weak. Your heart is wise. Your heart closed itself to protect you. And now we are learning how to open it again, but with more understanding. There is a quiet moment after heartbreak that many people never talk about. It is not the crying, not the loneliness, not the missing, not even the longing. It is the moment you finally realize, I wasn't in love. I was attached. And this realization is not shameful. It is liberating. Because once you see attachment for what it is, you can finally choose love that does not hurt. How to recognize attachment. Attachment shows itself in subtle ways. It is not dramatic. It is persistent. Attachment says, if they leave, I fall apart. If they withdraw, I panic. If they are distant, I begin to chase. My emotional peace depends on what they do. Your heart becomes reactive. Your nervous system becomes alert. Your mind tries to predict, control, or prevent loss. This is not love. This is survival. Your entire emotional world becomes shaped around one person's behavior. You become smaller to keep the peace, quieter to avoid conflict, softer to avoid being abandoned, more tolerant to avoid pushing them away. you start disappearing in your own life. Aristotle believed this is where love loses its truth. He taught that real love strengthens your identity. It does not erase it. To love is to will the good of the other. But to will the good of another, you must still have a sense of self to give from. Attachment drains the self. Love nourishes it. How to recognize healthy love. Healthy love feels different from the very beginning. It does not begin with intensity. It begins with clarity. You feel calm, not anxious, appreciated, not tolerated, valued, not used, heard, not dismissed, seen, not idealized. Healthy love does not rush. Healthy love does not confuse. Healthy love does not require you to abandon yourself. Healthy love gives you room to breathe. You feel safe enough to be honest, vulnerable, imperfect, human. Because when love is real, you do not have to perform for it. The root of attachment. Emotional safety. Outsourced attachment happens when you believe, my sense of safety comes from you. So you cling, you compromise, you silence your needs, you bend your boundaries, you shape yourself around someone else's comfort. You hope that if you are pleasing enough, loving enough, understanding enough, patient enough, they will stay. But staying is not the same as loving. Aristotle understood this deeply. He taught that happiness cannot depend on things outside your control, including another person. When safety comes from outside, you will always be afraid. When safety comes from within, you can love without fear. So the work is not to detach from the person. The work is to return to yourself. Healing attachment begins with reclaiming yourself. Ask gently, what parts of myself did I silence to keep this connection? What feelings did I ignore? Mine I. What boundaries did I soften? What needs did I swallow? Do not blame yourself. You were loving with the tools you had at the time. Healing does not mean closing your heart. Healing means opening your heart with wisdom. Aristotle believed the goal of love is not merging into one, but growing alongside each other. You do not lose yourself. You bring your full self into the relationship. That is love. Step 1. Learn to sit with your feelings instead of chasing relief. When the heart feels anxious, it seeks distraction, texting, checking, replaying memories, watching their social media, waiting for their attention, needing reassurance. This is the nervous system asking, am I safe? But no one outside of you can answer that, so pause, breathe, let the emotion rise, let it shake, let it burn. Do not run from it. The emotion will not destroy you. It is simply a younger part of you asking, am I still lovable if I am not chosen? Your answer must come from you. Say softly, yes, I am still lovable. This sentence begins the healing. Step 2. Return to your own life. Attachment makes your world small. Your identity becomes the relationship, the hope of its return, the fear of its loss. So gently, without force, re-engage with yourself. Not to distract, not to avoid, but to remember who you are. Read again, create again, work again, walk again, sit with yourself again, laugh again, learn again. Your life is not on pause. You have simply been away from yourself. Welcome back. Young step 3, choose what nourishes you. Aristotle believed the soul thrives through virtue, through living in alignment with your inner truth. So ask, what kind of love feels healthy for me? What kind of presence brings me peace? What kind of relationship allows me to grow? Not, what do I want to hold on to? But, what helps me become more myself? Because if love does not help you grow, it is not love. If love makes you shrink, it is not love. If love makes you anxious, it is not love. Love is not supposed to feel like begging. Love is not supposed to feel like insecurity. Love is not supposed to feel like fear. Love is the place where your soul expands. Now, this is not the end of love. It is the beginning of real love. You are not being asked to stop loving. You are being asked to love differently, with a heart that is open but rooted, with a love that holds but does not cling, with a presence that cares but does not dissolve. Attachment says, I love you because I need you. Love says, I love you because I choose you. And the difference between those two is the difference between fear and freedom. There comes a moment in healing where something subtle inside you begins to shift. You no longer feel the need to hold so tightly. You no longer panic when someone pulls away. You no longer lose yourself in the presence of another. It is not because you feel less. It is because you have learned how to stay with yourself. This is the turning point, where attachment fades and love begins. Aristotle believed that real love is not found in intensity, longing, or possession. Real love is found in mutual flourishing, not merging, not clinging, not losing identity, but two souls walking side by side, each becoming more fully themselves. That is love. Love does not take you away from yourself. Love brings you back to yourself. When you are attached, your world shrinks to the size of another person. Your emotions revolve around them. Your peace depends on them. Your identity shapes itself around them. But in healthy love, your world grows bigger, not smaller. You expand. Your creativity, your confidence, your joy, your friendships, your capacity for presence. Healthy love nourishes your inner life. When love is real, you do not lose yourself. You find yourself more deeply. Aristotle believed love must elevate both souls involved. He wrote, "The aim of love is to grow two souls, not to bind them. Growth is the measure. Expansion is the sign. Peace is the proof." Love that comes from wholeness feels different. When you no longer seek validation from another, you can finally love without fear. You no longer say, "Love me so I can feel whole." Instead, "I am whole and I choose to love." This kind of love is steady, calm, grounded. It is not rushed. It is not frantic. It is not desperate. It does not demand constant reassurance. It does not collapse when distance appears. It does not require you to sacrifice yourself to keep peace. This love breathes. You can speak honestly. You can set boundaries gently. You can say this hurts without fear of being abandoned. You can stay open without being naive, because your sense of self is no longer fragile. Your heart has roots now. How two souls grow together in healthy love. You share your truth without fear. You communicate gently and consistently. You apologize without humiliation. You forgive without forgetting your needs. You support each other's goals. You do not compete. You do not belittle. You do not hide. You stand beside each other, not in front or behind. Love becomes a partnership of becoming, not one lifting the other, not one shrinking so the other can shine, but both rising together. Aristotle called this a friendship of virtue. Two people helping each other become good, not for each other, but for themselves, for life, for the soul. This is love that strengthens, love that holds, love that honors, love that steadies. Our love does not need to be constant to be real. Attachment wants constant closeness, not to bond, but to soothe fear. Healthy love understands that space is not abandonment. Space is breathing. You can be apart and still feel connected. You can be silent and still feel close. You can disagree and still feel secure, because connection is not maintained by proximity. Connection is maintained by trust. In healthy love, trust replaces fear. Mutual respect replaces control. Clarity replaces guessing. Communication replaces mind reading. Openness replaces emotional withholding. No performance, no games, no pretending, just truth, shared gently. Love without ownership. One of the most misunderstood truths of love is this: you cannot own another person, not their heart, not their loyalty, not their affection, not their future. You can only invite them to stay, and they choose you freely. Every day, attachment tries to secure love through control. Healthy love honors love through freedom. Aristotle believed love must allow both people to move toward their highest selves. He wrote, "To love is to wish for the other what you wish for yourself. If you wish for them, peace, growth, joy, purpose, wholeness, then you are loving. If you only wish for them, closeness, attention, reassurance, possession, then you are attached. The heart always knows the difference." Creating love that feels safe. Safety in love does not come from guarantees. It comes from consistency in action, emotional honesty, kind communication, respect during conflict, choosing each other deliberately, not out of fear. Safe love sounds like, "I am here. I choose you. I want us to grow. I will listen. I will speak honestly. I value your inner world." When both hearts feel safe, love becomes expansive. You open more. You soften more. You trust more. You breathe more. This is the foundation of deep intimacy. The heart that heals becomes capable of greater love. Do not fear that healing will make you harder, colder, less willing to love. Healing makes you softer without collapsing, open without drowning, trusting without losing discernment. loving without abandoning yourself. Healing gives you strength with tenderness. The heart that is shattered and rebuilt loves with a deeper kind of wisdom. A love that does not cling but joins. A love that does not demand but welcomes. A love that does not break you but builds you. The final realization: you were never meant to love by clinging. You were meant to love by standing beside, to offer affection while holding your center, to give care without losing your voice, to remain soft without surrendering your power. You were never meant to be half of a whole. You were meant to be a whole person who chooses another whole person. Two hearts, two minds, two souls, growing not into each other, but alongside each other. That is love. The love Aristotle wanted us to learn. The love your heart has always deserved. The love you are becoming ready for now.